just another thing or two and the differences between the two machines. The Grillo has the exhaust down here from the engine. It's down low. So in long dry grass, which you're often putting these machines into, that exhaust is right in the grass. The Sherpa has its exhaust right up the top. So while you still have to be careful in that long dry grass, you've got the exhaust here right up the top, out of harm's way. The Grillo doesn't have a bonnet, so it does tend to build up a lot of rubbish on here, which you need to keep cleaning. It does have an extra guard over a standard engine, but it still builds up a lot of rubbish on there and needs to be kept clean all the time. This mower has done 25 hours of demonstrating and mowing. It's never been washed under the bonnet yet, so that's about as dusty as it gets. I'm a little bit remiss there. I need to give that a wash. But the bonnet, the key thing about the bonnet is it creates an airflow to keep the engine cool. And whilst you will get some grass building up on here, it's very minimal compared to the mowers that don't have a bonnet, whether it be a Grillo or anything else. Also, the Sherpa has its engine mounted sideways. These mowers are rated up to 40 degrees up and down, the Grillo 30. The engine mounted sideways means that if you're running at the maximum sideways allowance of 15 degrees, you're never going to have more than 15 degrees angle on the sump, so therefore the oil level in there is never going to be excessively to one end of the engine. The Grillos have the engine mounted rearways, so that when you're going up and down those steep slopes, you're often going to be, although they are all, both these machines are pressure fed oil with pumps, still the reservoir of oil is going to be either at one extreme or the other on steep slopes. So the sideways configuration, I believe, is better for that reason. The Sherpa has a large reservoir here, that white bottle, for hydrostatic oil. That's your drive oil for the four-wheel drive and transmission. There's a large transmission at the back with fan cooling on it. The Grillo has a oil reservoir there as well. And down inside there, you may just be able to see it through the grating, is a copper coil with a fan under it. And that copper coil is to cool down the oil. I prefer the way the Sherpa does it because there's no copper to vibrate, work harden and crack. I think it's probably going to cause more problems in the long run, the copper coil, than what this reservoir, larger reservoir, it's quite a large reservoir, would do. Sherpa has, although not a ROPS approved roll bar, not a heavy duty roll bar like you'd see on a tractor, still got a substantial roll bar there that can be laid down when you're not in steep country so that it's not banging on trees and things. It just rests back here. Just pull these pins and the roll bar folds back down. The Grillo has a little roll bar which will help in the event of a rollover to protect the motor, not your head. But it should stop the machine from coming all the way over, hopefully. Fuel capacity is the same. They're both running 15 litre fuel tanks, which is good. The Sherpa deck is 3mm steel, galvanised and then coated over the top. You can see this very strong point here, tucked in behind the wheel so it's protected. Now you've got to remember these machines are used in steep country, rough country, rocky country. Things can bash your deck and do damage. The Grillo has the deck protruding beyond the front wheels and it has a flap on the side. The advantage of this flap is, in really thick going, you can lift it up. You shouldn't do that because rocks and things can be thrown out there and it's dangerous, but you can lift it up to help it clear. The downside of that flap poking out past the front wheel is this. You see that blade there? There's a flap missing off this machine. It's been damaged 3 times, the client tells me, he's getting it repaired now, because on his block he's got lots of rocks and stumps that he can't see, and he hits the deck and bashes it in and the blade hits it. It's tough enough to be repaired because it's a good machine, but still I prefer this type of deck, which is tucked in behind the wheel, is very, very robust, being 3mm steel, and also has these very strong points here. Almost you would have to really beat that to be able to damage it. Suspension seat on the Grillo, adjustable, comfortable, has got these hip huggers, which if you are sideways on a slope turning around, holds you in the seat a little bit better. The Grillo doesn't have a suspension seat, still quite comfortable. The next model up on the Grillo, the 922 with the 22 horsepower motor, has the comfy seat with some armrests on the side, but it's still not a suspension seat. All in all, the Grillo is a really good machine, and if your block is steep, too steep for a normal mower, then the Grillo is a really good option. Good quality, good build, and would recommend it. The Sherpa is the next level. It's a bit dearer, but it's a lot more capable. And physically you can see there's a lot more machine. So if you've got real rugged country, this is the one you need. Lots of clearance, lots of articulation on the front. You would have noticed the Grillo is quite a bit lower than the clearance underneath. So for harsh conditions, the AS940 Sherpa is the machine for me.